Pope Francis received a representation of the communicators in the service of the custody of the Holy Land on the occasion of the centenary of the magazine. The celebration at Cana on the Sunday that commemorates Jesus' miracle at a wedding banquet. On January 17th, the Maronite Church in Jerusalem celebrated the feast day of the Father of Monasticism. Journey through ancient souvenirs at the Israel Museum and the Terra Sancta Museum. Syrian Orthodox monk Boulos Chano hand-transcribed the Gospels into ancient Syriac. Beginning January 22nd, the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity is celebrated in the Holy Land. "100 years ago, the magazine Terra Santa was born, a sign of hope and the beginning of a journey towards the future. 100 years is always a great milestone. When it's for people, it's an outstanding achievement. If it's for institutions, it's a major milestone. For newspapers or magazines, it's a significant milestone." To celebrate this important anniversary, a group of the magazine's editors and contributors was received by Pope Francis at the Vatican this Monday, January the 17th. A total of 44 people, the delegation led by Brother Francesco Patton, expressed a variety of national and linguistic backgrounds. The audience with the Holy Father was in the Clementine Hall of the Apostolic Palace at the Vatican. 100 years ago, said the Custos of the Holy Land addressing the Pope, the birth of our magazine was a sign of hope. We want the magazine to continue today to be a sign of hope, recounting the seeds of good sown in the dark furrows of history, in that small portion of the world in which human history has become the history of salvation. Making the Holy Land known means transmitting the fifth gospel, said the Pope in his speech, that is the historical and geographical environment in which the Word of God was revealed and then made flesh in Jesus of Nazareth for us and for our salvation. Through the means of social communication you can enrich the faith of many, even those who do not have the opportunity to make a pilgrimage to the holy places. You can make known the people who live there today, to try to build in a complex and difficult context like that of the Middle East, a fraternal society. I thank you because, in order to tell the story of the Holy Land, you strive to meet the people where and how they are. In fact, to carry out your reports, your investigations and your publications, you do not limit yourselves to the quieter territories, but you also visit the most difficult and suffering realities, such as Syria, Lebanon, Palestine and Gaza. At the end of the hearing, the Pope personally greeted all those present, giving each one rosary beads. For all the media of the custody and for all the communicators of the custody, stressed Brother Francesco Patton, the Holy Father's message is one of encouragement. It gives a great boost because in his own message the Pope reminded us how important it is that communication be at the service of fraternity and dialogue. That this capacity to wear out one's shoes in order to find beautiful, positive stories to tell exists, even in the midst of very difficult situations such as those experienced in the Holy Land and throughout the Middle East.
Le situazioni che si vivono in Terra Santa e in tutto il Medio Oriente.
About 10 kilometers from Nazareth in the Holy Land there is Cana, also called Kafr Kana, which in Arabic means village of Cana. This location is mentioned in the Bible to be the place of the first miracle of Jesus, who turned water into wine on the occasion of a wedding feast. The shrine of Jesus' first miracle is located here under the custody of the Franciscans, who have been present in Cana for 3 centuries. Underneath the main church, which is behind me, we also have, as Christian archaeology explains, the remains of a Byzantine church. According to the Gospel of John, during the wedding, realizing that the wine had run out, Mary said to Jesus, "They have no more wine." Jesus answered her, "Woman, what do you want from me? My hour has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Whatever he tells you, do it." There were 6 stone amphorae for the ritual purification of the Jews, each containing from 80 to 120 litres. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them to the brim. He said to them again, "Now take some and bring it to the one who is in charge of the feast," who, after tasting the wine, approved it. According to the evangelist, this was the first miracle of Jesus, performed at Cana of Galilee. In this time of pandemic, I think the message of Cana is that the sufferings and difficulties that we experience purify us, and this purified water leads us to joy, to that true joy, that joy of the new wine. This is the witness that the Christians of Cana give, and the witness that we, as Christians, give in this celebration. The solemn Mass was presided over by the Vicar of the Custody of the Holy Land, Brother Dobromir Yashtal.
Ecco, oggi qui a Cana celebriamo il primo miracolo di Gesù.
It is a great feast, but it is also, we can say, the third Epiphany that we have celebrated. The first we celebrated in Bethlehem, when Jesus manifests himself to the people. The second we celebrated on the banks of the Jordan, where the Father presents Jesus as his Son and redeeming servant. And then at Cana, Jesus manifests his presence in the midst of the community, and from his presence comes that gift of new wine.
Dalla sua presenza ecco che viene quel dono divino nuovo.
On the occasion of their silver wedding anniversary, this couple renewed their wedding vows.
Today it's very special, very, very nice, very spiritual for me. And I hope that Jesus Christ and Mary will stay with us for the rest of our life.
Yes, we are excited, it is our 25th anniversary. So we are together, and now it is a blessing. And we came here to pray with the community of Cana to take the blessing of the Lord straight from where he blessed or he made his first miracles.
To commemorate the Feast of Cana is to celebrate the first of the many miracles that Christ continues to perform in humanity. On January the 17th, the Maronite Church of Jerusalem celebrated the feast of St. Anthony Abbot. St. Anthony is an Egyptian hermit and monk from whom the organization of monastic life as we know it today originated. St. Anthony lived between the 3rd and the 4th centuries and is considered the father of monasticism. The words of Matthew's Gospel can be applied to him. If you want to be perfect, go, sell everything you own, give it to the poor, and you will have a treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. The Eucharistic celebration was presided over by Father Antoine El-Doukihi, parish priest of the Maronite parish of Jerusalem, who in his homily recalled how the life of Eastern monks is based on the rule of St. Anthony. For us, St. Anthony is still alive, especially in the life and example of the monks, whose whole life is dedicated to the adoration of God on the one hand, and to the service of man on the other. Despite the cold weather and restrictions due to the pandemic, numerous faithful devoted to St. Anthony attended the Mass. In a world where wars and pandemics prevail, let us return to the values of life. We ask for the intercession of St. Anthony in this difficult time and pray that he will protect the Middle East and help us return to normal life after this pandemic. I wish you a happy feast of St. Anthony. Let us ask the Lord to give us monks, nuns, priests, and saints. Crosses, rings, medallions, and bracelets. but also cruets for holy oil to bring back home from the Holy Land as a souvenir. At the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, souvenirs of the first pilgrims to the Holy Land in the Byzantine era are on display, expressing a devotion not too far from that of our days, to touch the sanctity of the places and take something back with them to share on their return.
In the 4th century, the holy sites were rediscovered, and it becomes a huge religious tourism with the sacred itinerary of pilgrims visiting one holy site after the other. And most interestingly, they do what we do today. They buy souvenirs and collect souvenirs and bring them home.
Then, as now, souvenirs were linked to the places visited: the Annunciation in Nazareth, the Nativity and the Adoration of the Magi in Bethlehem, while reproductions of crucifixions and resurrections abounded on the stalls in Jerusalem.
Touching holiness is a means to take it with you, and you can take it home and share it with people that were not fortunate enough to come.
We follow in the footsteps of the pilgrims and arrive at the Terra Sancta Museum. We are welcomed by Brother Eugenio Alliata, archaeologist and director of the museum. For Christians, religious souvenirs have a special name, at least the old ones. They are called eulogies, which means blessing. These items are meant to remind you of holy places and carry a blessing from God for the rest of your life. In the ampoules, yesterday as today, the faithful collect oil for the lamps that burn on the holy places. In this case, it is an ampolla found in Jerusalem. Depicted is Mount Calvary, and on Mount Calvary there is a main cross, which is the cross of Jesus, and two crosses on the sides, which according to the Gospel were those of the thieves crucified with Jesus on the same day. This is a very typical representation of Jerusalem.
Molto tipica proprio di Gerusalemme.
The museum also possesses a special piece donated by a private collector, a mould for making cruets, also found in Jerusalem. On one side is a depiction of the prophet Daniel among lions.
Dall'altra parte invece raffigura.
On the other side is the patriarch Abraham preparing to offer his son Isaac as a sacrifice on Mount Moriah. For Christians, Mount Moriah is the same as Mount Calvary because Isaac is the type of Jesus' sacrifice. While waiting for the return of the pilgrims, the museum is being renovated and expanded, and these pieces will find their place in a new room, which will be dedicated to votive objects. After a long work, the Syrian Orthodox monk Boulos Chano has completed the writing of the Gospels in ancient Syriac. The work, completely handwritten, has been published in a volume with a red cover, the symbol of the blood of Christ, while the pages are decorated in gold, the colour of Christ the King. I answered a call from God to revive the Aramaic language in this country, here in the Holy Land, where the Lord Jesus lived. Father Boulos heard this call last year during his months of isolation from the coronavirus pandemic. I felt the desire to write the Gospel in Aramaic, and I said to myself, Lord, if this is your will, give me a sign. The next day a dove came to rest on my window. It had never happened before, and I thought it was a sign from the Lord, but I still wasn't sure. The dove also came back the next day and the day after that, and so I told myself that it was indeed a sign from the Lord. And so Father Boulos began to write, starting with the Gospel of Mark. I chose to start with Mark's Gospel first of all, because I live in St. Mark's Monastery, and then because it is the shortest, 16 chapters. I said to myself, let's try it and see if I can do it. Writing the Gospel of Mark took a month and a half. I turned off my cell phone and closed the door, lit a candle and incense, and put my hand on the Bible to bless me and my work and avoid mistakes. The old Syriac script was used by the Syriac fathers in the 14th century. Today it is still used by the Syrian Orthodox, Syrian Catholic and Maronite Church. It is much more articulated and complicated than the modern one. Father Boulos wrote on parchment made from sheepskin, using special nibs. We are proud of our history. We value our church, science and language. Father Boulos has handwritten over 4,000 texts in ancient Syriac taken from the Bible to spread knowledge of this language. His texts have also been reproduced on various objects donated to political or religious representatives, but also schools and associations, to show that the language of Christ is still alive today. From January the 22nd to the 30th, the Week of Prayer for Christian Unity returns to the Holy Land after stopping in 2021 due to the pandemic.
It's at the same time an expression of the fraternal relations that already exist and a help, an instrument in promoting more fraternal and friendly relations among the heads of churches.
In the past year, there have been encouraging events for the ecumenical journey in the Holy Land, starting with the Pope's trip to Cyprus and Greece, with fraternal meetings with Orthodox patriarchs and bishops. Even the synodal path, initiated at the local level, can show the face, perhaps less known but more real, of ecumenism.
It is a fact that there are more links among the faithful than among the priests, and that the faithful here in the Holy Land, in certain sense, go ahead in the ecumenical relations, feeling that they belong to one community. I think we can learn something from this belonging together of our faithful.
The guidelines for ecumenical pastoral care, recently published by the Catholic bishops of the Holy Land, point in this direction.
For the first time, we have a common document by the local church on how do we intend to live with that reality of our faithful crossing over from one confession to the other.
This is the case in mixed marriages, where the practice is for the wife to adhere to her husband's church, but also in the administration of the sacraments.
And there again, the principles are, we should always encourage people to take part in the sacramental life of their own church, but at the same time, if they come to us out of a spiritual need, we cannot refuse them. But we respect their belonging and their church membership.
The Church of Jerusalem, which brings together all religious traditions, has a prophetic task for the whole Church on the path towards Christian unity.
If we can do something to overcome these divisions here, it may have a significance for the worldwide Church too, and that is part of the vocation of the Church of Jerusalem, I think.